All right, Brett. Well, I got the events gallery photos put in here, and so now I'm going to walk you through editing the photos and importing them into these galleries and how we're going to do that. So let's just go back over to your folder that you sent me. All right, we got some of the pizzas, the oven. Let's see what we got here. Great, some new oven shots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just download this folder. You probably have them in a different, already on your computer or wherever they're at. So once this is done zipping, download ready. All right, great. So it's in my downloads in the oven. So what we're going to do, this is Illustrator here. Let me close that down. Get rid of some of these windows. That was the old one that I just did. So the problem is I imported all your photos and they're not all scaled properly. This is from the events. So what I'm doing is I'm importing them all into one Photoshop file with layers. Then I'm creating a standard artboard, and then we just drag all these over to there, and then we just resize them and position them how we want. So I will walk you through how we're going to do that with the ovens. So here, when you're in Photoshop, when you open it up, you'll just go up to File, where you can do File New, but you're going to scroll down to Scripts, and we're going to do Load Files into a stack. So we're going to stack all these photos as a layer into one Photoshop file. So it lets you choose a folder. Back to my desktop. No, it's Downloads. Recent, date added, the oven, and I'm just going to select all of these and hit open, and then it's going to do its thing once. Oh, make sure neither one of these are checked. You don't need those, and just hit OK, and now it's going to do its thing and load all those photos on top of each other, creating each one as a layer. But as you can see, some photos are different sizes, right, and cropped differently. So what we're going to do, turn all these back on, is we just grab the top one, hold down Shift, and click the bottom one so it selects all the photos. And then, oh wait, first things first, we're going to create a new artboard. So File, New, and I want you to go over here and type in 1920 by 1080 at 72 and make sure it's on pixels, right? 1920 by 1080 is standard screen dimensions. It's a 16:9 ratio. It's basically HD quality, if you will. 4K is like 2600. But we're going to keep these light, 72 DPI, 1920 width by 1080 height. And then we're going to go create. Okay, so now we've got this new artboard. If you don't have your rulers up here, go Command R. See, that made mine go away. Command R on a Mac or Control R on a PC. Now, your background here is going to be locked. Go ahead and click the lock key. That'll unlock it. Only reason why I'm doing that is see these nodes that show up. So now I'm going to drop this down. You'll feel it kind of click into place there. Boom, that's halfway. That's halfway, just because we want to know where the center point is of our photos, because these are all missize over here. So we've got the upload folder with all the photos, the new folder file with a scale that we want to use. Okay, so again, select the top one, hold down Shift, select the bottom one. They're all selected. Now see how when I'm dragging this, they all move together? Well, slide them right up to this other layer here, and then drop it down towards the middle. This is just talking about color combinations from the camera over to Photoshop. Just hit OK. and that's going to take a second. All right, so that one, they kind of look groovy here, but so if I move this out of the way, see where this blue line comes in? That's how big these damn photos are, right? So what I'm going to do is just grab any one of these nodes, and you don't have to hold shift. It's going to keep its aspect ratio of all these. And see how as I'm scrolling it down, the height and the width of that's changing, right? So I just want to get it somewhat relative. Our artboard's 1920, so we want to be somewhere around like 2000 pixels. Okay, that's 1700, 2000, a little bit bigger. Let's go there, like 2200. Because they're not all sized right, it doesn't really matter. They're not uniform, right? So now I'm just going to drag these and then turn all of them off so you get down to the white layer artboard. Okay, great. Then either start from the top or start from the bottom, doesn't really matter, but select it and click the view. Okay, so now if you make sure you're up here on this select tool here, the move tool lets you move stuff around. So now from here, you can move it where you want and then scale it big enough to fit the edges, right? You can, as long as you don't hold shift, it'll keep the aspect ratio. Shift, if you do hold it, it'll do stuff like this and scrunch and do all kinds of things. So just don't hold shift. Figure out where you want to crop it. Okay, great. Then the next one here, turn it on. Enlarge it to the edge. Position it where you want. This one might look cool to cut that little border edge off there. If you need to do something to rotate it, see how that's not lined up, you can go up to the corner and then see as I hover into the corner, then that rotate icon shows up. Click and hold and then go left or right, and then you can line that up and hit enter and it's set. So now you can move it down. That's framed nicely. Okay, on to the next one. Turn it on. Pull the corner till it's wide enough. Hit enter to set it. This is pretty blurry, so I wouldn't use that one. Let's get rid of it. I don't know why these ones came out so small. Let's pull it. Yeah, that one's bad quality too. Awesome. What I like to do too is you might as well scale it up, and I try to look at where's the action, right? Or the middle of the action. So if he's the action point, we want to make sure he's in full frame and the oven's in full frame. That's a good balance. Okay, select this next one. And what's cool is we don't have to turn these off if you don't want to. I'll show you how we're going to export them all in bulk later. All right, so this one, it looks fine there, or we can move it around. What parts do we need to see, want to see? The flowers are pretty. Let's enlarge it a little bit. Trim off that diamond plate and just move it someplace that looks nice like that. And then now I'm looking at the house. How about what parts of the house do we want to get? We want to get the wood-fired catering. I think that's a good position there. Perfect. So this one, the action is, his face and the logo on the chest. And then the oven. And then see, we got a line here that we don't want those tools. So yeah, I'd crop it over here. Yeah, because the Al Forno and all that's covered up because the door's open. So yeah, that's just, and keep in mind you can always go Command Z to go back if you want to go back a step. It's always a, and then if you want to move things up or down slightly, you can use your arrow keys. That'll do 1 pixel at a time. If you hold Shift and tap up, that'll do 10 pixels at a time. But yeah, we're going to get him right there. And then that way we get the light from the tree. Tutte Al Forno's right on the center line. That's good. Okay. I like the action over here of the .com. It's got branding, so let's move it over a little bit. Maybe slightly enlarge. Get it at the waist. And then we look over here at the top of this. You know, it might be nice. Those trees are pretty, so maybe we just catch a little bit of that at the top. There, nice framed shot. Okay, so now see, we select this one. We can see the bounding box is way the hell out here. But because we did the 1920 by 1080, it's saying that's our artboard. So grab the bottom image or the top image, doesn't matter, and then hold Shift and select the alternate. It'll select all of your images again. Now we're just going to right click and make sure you're clicking on the name part. It does different stuff if you click on the image part. So right click, and we're going to find this export as. Do not do export as PNG. It's too heavy. Export as. Okay, so you can see it's 1920 by 1080, and by default it's going to set it at PNG. Okay, but what you want to do is anything that you change right here, it's only going to apply it to this one image because that's the only one selected. So you got to hold down Shift and select all of them, right? Which is a good thing. You know, if you wanted to apply a different thing just to one image, you could. But, oh, actually, it looks like you can hold Shift to select all of them too. So go over here, drop it down to JPEG. See, that already converts these down quite a bit. You know, these ones are good to go, but over 1 megabyte, we don't want that, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to drop the quality, because right now it's super high quality. It hasn't been compressed. Drop it down to 80. You can go as low as 60. So 60 standard. Anything above is higher quality. So I'm going to go 80. Look what happens. Boom. Now we're in the kilobytes for all of them. That works good. We're going to go ahead and export. Find your file. I'm going to go ahead and call these resized 1920s because they're 1920 by 1080s. Then you just hit open. It's basically opening that folder, exported them all in there. Let's go check them out. Boom, back into your, enlarge this here. Tutte Al Forno. And Christ, where did I save these? Oh, actually, shoot, I saved that back in my downloads folder. Anyway, just remember where you save your stuff better than I do. Okay, these are all 1920s by 1080s. Great. See how they're all evenly sized? So that's it for the Photoshop resizing. But now I'm going to go into the website. Right, I'm all logged in, so I've got my navigation up here. I see the galleries. I click on View Our Galleries, which I already had going here. And then I've just got a bunch of windows open, make this a little simpler. So I'm at View Galleries. All right, now I'm on the page where we can organize them by categories. I did the events. So I have them set to show at 600 pixels by 600 pixels. But remember, we did 1920s by 1080s. Well, what's cool is now when you click on it, the light box pops open and then gives us that screen aspect ratio for our viewport. Cool. So you go onto this page, Tutte Al Forno /r-galleries, edit page. Now we just did the oven, so we're going to go into the oven. So this is tabs, right? So tabs controls the widget called tabs. Then each one of these is the tab with an image gallery inside of it. To change the tab name, you hit the edit here, change the name. To edit the gallery, you hit the edit on the image gallery. So let's go on to the oven, hit edit on the image gallery. Upload. Here's my resized. Select all of them, open. Now see how these are all coming through with these weird names? You can change those names a couple of ways. You can do them once they're uploaded, just by clicking on an image, going edit, renaming the title here. Or when you're in Photoshop, you can just come over here and go, this top one, Tutte al Forno oven 1 or something like that. And when you export, it'll keep that name. So see how these just have the DC image from the camera. So either edit it there in your Photoshop layers before you export it, or once they're imported here, just click and change your name. Okay, so now all of these are selected. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add images. Now remember, I deleted all those other ones of the oven. If you do want to add any of those back in, we just hit the plus icon, and then as you scroll through the gallery, anything that you find of the oven that you'd like to add, easy peasy. Add those images. Check out if, like, these two shouldn't be next to each other. Let's break them up. So you just drag and rearrange, hit save, and then update to put it live. And that's that. So we'll hop over here, click on gallery, go to view all galleries. Let's see our work. The oven, new photos. And then, here we got 2 extras or too few. So either add 2 or remove 2 to even it up. Events, good to go. And we'll work on the pizzas and other photos, but it's looking tough. Talk to you soon. Hope this helps out.